Good evening. Welcome back.
Good evening, Krupali, 2136 Applegate. I'm here again to discuss the Corona Animal Shelter. I had a meeting with Officer Rodriguez, who's in charge yesterday, which went well. I hear that the animal shelter is scheduled to potentially be open later to 6 p.m., I think 2 days a week, hopefully starting this summer, which is fantastic. We discussed the euthanasia rate, and he would like to see it lower. He discussed this in his January meeting. However, I think in order to achieve it and to get a low kill shelter status or a lower euthanasia rate, a shift needs to be made. And it's a shift for welcoming volunteers, partnering with other rescues, and looking at the staffing. The first question I have are the salaries at the Corona Animal Shelter. That doesn't show up well.
Ms. Mobley, can you assist?
There are 5 full-time ACO officers in Corona at a salary of $95,000 with benefits. So the entire budget of the animal shelter is $1.2 million, and over 80%, as you can see on my pie chart, because it's better visualized that way, is for salaries, with less than 10% for veterinary and animal disposal fees, so maybe less than 5% for veterinary care, and less than 10% for meds and materials for this. So, I kind of took interest in this, so I spoke to the CFO of the Riverside Animal Shelter that operates 4 animal shelters in the county. He said the salary on average is about 85 to 90 potentially, so that kind of is in the range. But he said, however, 5 full-time ACOs for the size of this area and the animals that we bring in is not necessary. So I think the budget needs to be looked at how many people are there full-time. He says 2 to potentially 3 should only be there, so not 5. And they don't have part-time employees, or we have part-time employees too. So that really needs to be looked at if we're trying to save on a budget, as we have mentioned for 4th of July and such as well. Upland has 3 full-time ACOs. They don't have part-time, and the average salary in Upland, when I average the 3 ACOs, is $87,000 per with benefits. So it's comparable. So I have a kind of a plan. Let's say we take away 2 of the ACOs and we're left with 3. That saves $200,000. So we could hire people on a lower pay scale to manage, because we don't have a volunteer coordinator there. We don't have a rescue coordinator there. That's why more animals are being deemed unadoptable. They're aggressive dogs or whatnot. Rescues will come and pick up aggressive dogs. When I met with Officer Rodriguez, they don't have sort of a plan for these animals. I asked him, what if there was 8 newborn kittens that were left in the city park and they were brought and they were 4 days old? What would you do with these kittens? And he had no response. Would they be put down? Probably. But if he called rescue, such as Priceless Rescue Pets in Chino, they would come and pick them up. And they would bottle feed them until they could be adoptable out families. So it really frightens me, there's no system for rescues to even enter.
10 seconds.
There's no system for volunteers to enter. So there needs to be better partnerships with rescues, and the city needs to be welcome in to volunteer, because there are people here who will give their time and dedicate their time, and you'll save on budget. There you go.
Thank you very much. And please check with Chief Abel.
I will.